Hey guys, this is Cris Urzua and I want to welcome you to the Cris Urzua podcast. This is our 5th episode and we have an incredible guest today. With us, you have Brandon Iván Peña. Brandon Iván Peña is a dynamic and multi-talented individual who embodies the essence of simplificator and creative thinker. With a zest for life and an unwavering focus on achieving excellence, Brandon serves as the CEO of 787 coffee shops with over 25 locations right now, where they cater with the most incredible Puerto Rican coffee in New York City and in several places along the US. Brandon is a pioneer in social media marketing, listed by Forbes as one of the next upstart entrepreneurs, by Inc. magazine as one of the fastest growing companies in America, and by Yahoo Finance as one of the top 10 entrepreneurs. I'm very excited in this conversation. We both love coffee, we both love New York City, and you can see that Brandon is one of the most interesting guys out there in this industry. So I really hope you enjoy, you take a lot of notes, and welcome to the Cris Urzua podcast. Mr. Brandon Iván Peña, so happy to have you here, man. How are you?
Great. It's amazing. Thanks for having me. Very excited. Happy to be here.
Dude, I have a quick question for you, and this is the most important question that we will have throughout the whole podcast. Espresso or Americano?
Espresso.
Espresso, 100%?
100%. Difficult question, but yeah, there you go.
Same thing over here. Man, now I have another question for you, because we talk a lot about entrepreneurship, business building here in the podcast, and you're an extremely accomplished business owner with 787 Coffee. How many locations do you have right now?
We're at 25.
25 locations.
25
Can you tell us
locations.
the story behind the first location? Why coffee? Why a physical business? How did it all start?
Great question. Thank you. Well, I'm in marketing. That's always been my background. Love marketing. I believe everything in life is about sales, connections, humans. And I had a marketing agency, a very successful marketing agency, doing a lot of content creator buys, working very closely with Facebook. I was really lucky to be one of Facebook's stars in 2011. What that meant is I was doing a lot of consulting, learning from them, and then talking to a lot of agencies on strategies, changes, engagement, what that really meant. A lot of the advertising agencies were so focused on traditional media buys, billboards, television, radio, and all of a sudden, everything kind of switched, right? Everything became about emotions and connections, and we created a philosophy that was quite successful at that time, which is content plus emotions equals engagement. So when we applied that into every single one of the campaigns that we created, it started generating a lot of engagement. And Facebook recognized it, and they said, you're on the top 99.1% of all the content creators for brands. And that's how I got the star. And that took me to a lot of places, a lot of countries, giving consulting. Financially, I was doing pretty well. But I always had that impulsor of if what I'm doing is really bringing value to anyone. When you do B2B, I had a lot of responsibility, right? Companies are giving you money to spend, and that money that you're spending, you're hoping that it's going to bring them a return of investment, but you're always, like I said, you have that question, is it really working? And then everything was going well. Had the opportunity to buy a coffee farm in Puerto Rico, in Maricao, about a 2-hour drive from San Juan.
And why? How did you jump into an opportunity to buy a coffee farm? Like, you've always loved coffee, or just randomly as an investment?
I think that is the number one thing for business. Love the business that you're getting into. I love people, I love advertising, and I love coffee. And that's why I was in marketing, and that's why I got into coffee. Plus, everyone was telling me, because financials were good, they're like, buy properties. And I did not see myself buying, flipping homes or buying small little properties. That's not me. That's not what I like. I don't see myself flipping homes or fixing homes, or that's not the type of business I want to be in. I respect anyone who's doing that business. It's just not for me. So then an opportunity came in Puerto Rico, 103 acres, bought the farm. I had absolutely no idea about agriculture. And we started learning. Like everything in life, you have to be prepared. I always say that a business owner is a good business owner once he understands the principles of every single aspect of the business. You don't have to be the best at it, but know at least a little bit to be able to have a smart conversation with your accountant, with your content creator. Know the basics of Instagram and TikTok and the basics of a P&L. So we started traveling from Rwanda all the way to Guatemala to understand specialty coffee. Puerto Rico, Chris, is a territory of the US. As such, it is a territory that has to pay federal minimum wage according to the US, which in this case is $7.25. When you buy a cup of coffee, you are buying usually coffee that you're going to put sugar and milk and syrups into the cup of coffee. So a lot of humans don't really care what the origin of coffee. So when you compete with the Little Mermaid, the green mermaid that sells coffee, you don't care. You just go and you pay $4 or $5 and you say, give me grande, venti, milk, sugar, vanilla, and you don't care where the coffee comes from. But we had to fight that because as part of the US paying a lot more, in Colombia or in Brazil, they're paying $5, $6, $7 per day. We had to pay $7.25 per hour. So that was the biggest challenge. How do we take Puerto Rican coffee to one of the best coffees in the world? How do we compete with lower prices? And the only way we were able to come up with a vertical business is opening our own shops, getting rid of the middleman, getting rid of the distributor, not buying coffee from anyone, not hiring a roaster to roast our coffee. We were just growing it at the farm, roasting it there, processing it there, and then sending directly into the shops. And that was basically how the business started back in 2017. Fun, energetic, a challenge, but it was a good challenge.
Nice, I love it. And your first location was in New York City, right?
First location was in Maricao, actually. In
Really?
Maricao, Puerto Rico. It was a part of the strategy. It was part of an opportunity came. A hotel from Maricao, a Parador, which is a small little Airbnb, called us and said, we have like a restaurant, like a lobby, and we're looking for an operator of a coffee shop. And we said, perfect, it's Maricao, it's in the area. It'll be a 20-minute drive from the farm there, and we'll take our coffee, and it'll be great. So that was the first one. And then to prove the concept in New York City, we started something called a store within a store, which is like a pop-up. And we started renting a kiosk inside of a market in New York City. We started in Olita, which is it was Mulberry and Houston, a very cool corner with a very cool market. And Ricky Martin lived upstairs, so that was kind of fun and cool. And then we started getting customers. That we had no seating space, and people would still come over and have coffee with us, and that was exciting. That worked out, and we got a second kiosk and a third kiosk and then a fourth kiosk on 6th Avenue and 30th by Macy's. Fun, great story. One in Puerto Rico, 4 in New York. Everything's going phenomenal. We have coffee, we have a story, we have passion and business success. So until September 2017, that is my story.
I love it.
A little bit of a switch. Puerto Rico was hit by the largest hurricane in its history, Hurricane Maria. And in September 2017, our coffee farm was completely destroyed. We lost 97% of our plantation. I had sold my advertising agency, so almost everything that I had made all my life was lost within 4 hours.
How many years were you into the business when the hurricane hit?
It was 3-4 years of buying the farm.
3-4 years in, and this was your major crisis. A hurricane destroys a whole plantation.
Yes.
And can you tell us about when you're producing coffee, how often can you harvest it? Is it once a year? How does it work?
Every 3 years.
Every 3 years you can harvest.
Every 3 years.
Wow.
So it was the first real harvest we were going to have. It was exciting. We had coffee that was left from before, but it was the first original one where we had been taking care of the farm and with our own process and with our own equipment. And then, it's we can plan as much as we want. Nature comes and
Hey, Brandon, that 3% that survived, tell me that you made like a big promo out of it, because that's like surviving coffee from a hurricane.
You know what? I have it, and I still have it there.
Really?
I still have it there. It was, now I can laugh about it, Cris, but at that point I couldn't.
No, I can imagine.
2017 September, I had been spending New Year's in Puerto Rico every single year for like the past 12 years prior to Hurricane Maria. That December, I really couldn't go to Puerto Rico. I had a lot of resentment. A lot of things changed in my life after Hurricane Maria. I couldn't afford my apartment in New York City. I had to move to New Jersey.
Wow.
We closed every single coffee shop. We had no money to pay rents. We had no coffee to sell coffee. We were very lost when it came
Wow.
to financials and business. And do we really want to pursue coffee? Is there a real way to compete against big producing coffee countries when we are so vulnerable by hurricanes, when our cost is so elevated, when it's just hard? We are not corporate America. We are not funded by Silicon Valley. We don't have millions of dollars backing us up. This is the work of two humans that have worked all their lives to have some sort of investment and are putting all their money and their efforts and their time into this project, supported by beautiful humans that work with us. But ultimately, we don't have that kind of power. We didn't have that kind of power to just rebuild and start all over again. So a lot of emotions and a lot of feelings were going through my head.
I can imagine. And how did you get out of that situation?
Many things happened. I would want to highlight maybe one where one of our coworkers, Tony, it gives you, before going into Tony, it gives you the perspective, Cris, of what business is really about, at least for us at that moment. Yes, it's about making money, 100%. Make lots of money when you do business. Yes. Focus on revenue. But the people that work with you or you work for play a huge part in the success of the company. Tony had just had a baby 3 months prior to the hurricane. I was crying and upset because I lost money. Tony was upset because he had no diapers, no formula, and a mountain collapsed on top of the house. The only thing he had in his life. He had no cash, no money, no savings. Just a little house in the countryside, and the mountain collapsed on top of it. So when Tony called a couple of weeks, months later, and said, when are we restarting this? When are we going to reopen? Because there's no employment. It's the highest unemployment city in the nation, number one in Puerto Rico and number one in the US if you consider the whole territory. When? Because there's nothing to do here, and I need to support. I need to do something for my daughter. That was tough on me because all his hopes were on me. When I was so lost, he sees me as a hero. Oh my gosh, when is Brandon coming in and rebuilding the farm? And that I think that was a tipping point for me.
Did you have any intention of doing that when you got that call?
No, not really. Not really. At that particular day, I remember not wanting to do anything. We had basically laid off everyone in the company. Only my assistant, the human that works next to me all the time, was with me. And I remember cutting her salary 50%. And I thought she was going to go and find a different job because it's what do? You need to pay bills. And this human, Muriel, would wake me up every single day trying to go do guerrilla marketing. She would always call me and say, we're going to go do a street fair. We're going to go do a festival or a carnival. We're going to do a tricycle and sell coffee on the streets. And every Saturday, Sunday, she would wake me up and invite me to go somewhere to do some sort of 787 on the street market. It was fun. Learned a lot. Gave us real values of what the company is. One of our mantras was born there, which is for humans by humans. And then we started again.
Good. How long would you say the crisis lasted from the hurricane till you could actually say we're back up and running, everything's back to normal? Was it a year, 2 years? How long?
It was a year and 3 months.
Interesting.
We opened the first shop November 2018. So from September 2017 until November 2018, we were in the process of do we go back in there? And then 6-7 months later, we're like, okay, let's go back to the farm and see what happens. Started cleaning, replanting, seeing what we can rescue. And then November 2018 was the moment where we're like, this is happening. Signals, life, coworkers. Something felt right. We found a space in the East Village on 7th Street between 1st Avenue and A Avenue, Alphabet City and East Village. And it was a very special little place. It's still our shop. We love that space. It's my baby. I still care for that shop like you have no idea. It's just so beautiful, so small, so tiny. The energy is vibrant. Anyone that's looking for energy needs to go there because it gives you that pump that you need to go through your day. So it's one of the most visited shops in New York City. People come. It's always named as one of the best coffee shops in the city, in East Village, and in the East Side, Lower East Side. And it's only because it's so unique. We never really focused on the aesthetics of it. It was more of the energy and the open windows. And we have swings there, and people going to work from a computer, but they're swinging and they're having fun. And the music's always funky, and it's a weird place. And people like that. And they're so tired of being in a fancy, elegant building, and then they come to a little coffee shop that has local beans from the U.S. freshly roasted, and then they come and enjoy, and that's how we restarted November 2018.
I love it, man. I love it. And we have actually, now that we're getting to know each other, we have a lot of things in common, like Mexican background, New York City lovers, coffee, etc. And one of the companies, my main company is in education, as I've mentioned, but one of the companies I opened up about 4 years ago was a coffee company, a very small coffee shop in Mérida, Yucatan, where I lived for about 4 years. And we ran that company for about 3 years. We got it to be profitable. It was very fun. For me, it was more of a passion project. When I got depressed during the pandemic, I had a lot of issues with my other businesses, and I wanted something like I could take advantage of low prices during the pandemic and get something settled in that was fun. And when I moved to the US, I shut it down. And I'm just doing like a very small e-commerce kind of thing. So for me, coffee has been more than a passion project than an actual strategy to scale. So when I see somebody with 25 coffee shops, I can just imagine your operation, how different it is from running one single small shop. So my question would be, to anybody that's listening to us that has ever considered opening up a coffee shop, because we know that's a very attractive thing. Like coffee shops are part of our culture. It's the neighborhood place where everybody gets along. It's something very attractive. It's got like this whole barista lifestyle, specialty coffee. It's got magic to it. What would be the number one advice to make a coffee shop actually work for somebody that either has a small one that's just looking at your success and going like, wow, I can't even imagine how to do that, or somebody that wants to open it up? What would be the number one piece of advice that you would give them?
Oh, there's so many, Chris. You're telling me one, but I want to give you so many.
I know it's hard. Give me a couple, the main ones.
I think work harder than everyone else, and not just for coffee, for any business. If someone's opening at 7 a.m., open at 6:45. Be the first option for customers. If they close at 7, close at 7:30. That would be number one. Work harder than everyone else. Someone has the dream to own what you own. And instead of complaining or thinking, oh, I work too much, appreciate it. Have some sort of gratitude and work harder. It's not enough. There's something more to do. It never ends. That would be one. The other one is simplify. I'm a true believer of simplification of processes. I love the simplification of life. I dress in black every single day of my life. My house is completely white. I don't have to worry about decorations. It's just white. So sometimes I feel like adding a tone or a different little accent, and I can buy a yellow pillow, but it's white. And my wardrobe is black. And I don't need many shoes. I don't use watches. I don't care for watches. I believe in the magic of moments. I believe in simplifying every single little thing that you can, because when you own less, you get to do more. So that's not only real for my life or my way of thinking, that is for business. What does that mean for your question? That means that if I am a coffee shop, what am I doing selling sandwiches? If I am a coffee shop, what am I doing selling salads? If I am a coffee shop, what am I doing selling soups? Stick to what you're good at. 787 Coffee is a coffee shop, not a sandwich shop. We do not sell sandwiches. I am not interested in learning recipes. I am not interested in learning how to make a sandwich. There's a Subway out there, and there's a Chichlaskis out there, and there's a I don't know what Subway, or I don't know what sandwich. I'll let it up to them to build and make delicious sandwiches. I'll be happy to Uber Eats my food from them, and it'll be great. We are a coffee shop, from farm to cup. Freshest coffee in the U.S., grown in the U.S., by U.S. blue passports, giving jobs to people here with about 20 different flags representing Puerto Rico. And with a lot of passion and love. So simplification of processes, working harder than everyone else.
And Brandon, sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt right over there, but I love the suggestion of focusing on what you do, right? But when I've spoken to a lot of coffee shop owners, they usually add other items to their menu because they tend to see coffee as what brings people in, and then the upsell or the actual profit might be on the other items. Do you? I guess you don't agree with that philosophy, or what would you tell these people that think
It's a
this?
great question. But it's a very, I agree. And I would say to those business owners, you do what you have to do to survive. If you have to pay rent and employees, you have to do what you have to do. But it's also very easy to get lost. It's also very easy to lose focus on what you're doing and why you're doing it for. So at 787, I can only speak for what we do here. 787 sells coffee, and our focus is coffee. And we really hope people look us up on Google for coffee, not for sandwiches. Once you get to the shop, we fix problems. That's what we do. We fix problems. We create memories and fix problems. How do we fix problems? Well, we have amazing Wi-Fi. Well, we caffeinate you, and you want energy, and that's the reason you're here. But you have to do homework, and you have to get ready for an interview, and you have to work from the coffee shop. And after an hour or 2 or 3, you will get hungry. So we don't sell empanadas. We sell something that will feed you fast, convenient, without losing your Wi-Fi, without closing your laptop, without losing your seat, so you can grab a bite and then go. But we hope no one's coming to 787 to get an empanada or a pastry, because there's beautiful pastries in New York City. I mean, I can't compete with the bagel shops here in New York City. I can't. I won't, and I won't. I'll probably lose. So as a business owner, know your forte and know your weakness. Our forte is coffee. Our forte is our coworkers. Our area of strength is our amazing spaces. They're full of creativity, inspiration, love, positive quotes, great music, great humans, a whole background of amazing individuals working together to make it happen. That's what 787 is and represents. We do have grab and go items that will fix the problem if I'm hungry and I don't want to get up, go walk, lose my space, come to connect to work, lose my flow. That's kind of what we do.
Awesome. I love it. Now I have a different question for you. It's actually it's a combo question. So the first one, what is your absolute favorite thing about living in New York City?
My absolute favorite thing of living in New York City is the vibrancy of the city.
What do you mean by vibrancy?
We are the creators of what's happening around the world tomorrow. What I see here today, I will see somewhere else tomorrow. It's just the way the city's programmed. We are programmed not to judge. We are programmed to push harder. We are programmed to wake up early and work and work and work. So that's what we do. And when I say we, I mean true New Yorkers. People that have lived here for, 7, 8 years. People that pay rent here. People that live here. People that sacrifice. People that left their families or were born here. True New Yorkers. People that really love and fight for the city because we believe in the city. I fight the government like you have no idea. I fight the health department like you have no idea because I care for the city. Because I came here with the dream of having a business. If I don't raise my voice and if I don't speak, I wouldn't be a true New Yorker. And that's what we do here. And that's my favorite thing. We get to push so laws get implemented. We get to speak so there's free gay rights and there's Puerto Rican parades and Dominican parades and there's multi faces and colors and accents and backgrounds and ethnicities and flags all in one place. That makes the world a world.
I love it, man. That's a great explanation. I just felt it. I really felt it. And now the second part of that question is going to be fun after that very motivational description of New York. What is the most annoying thing about living in New York City?
There's so many right now. They're
It is
so
crazy.
deadly.
We're just talking the
We were just
post-pandemic.
talking, yeah.
It's become a little bit more stressful. But if you had to say one, it could be funny or just simply annoying. What would it be?
The most annoying thing of New York.
The rats.
She's sitting right in front of me. The rats, yeah, the rats. The government and it's not being able to do things, moving fast enough.
A
It's
little
insane.
bureaucracy.
Yes, yes. Um, I don't know. I don't know what happened to the city. You've lived here. You
Hmm.
know the city's fast. The city moves, but now I feel business has become. It's so different. The governor, the mayor, they want to be politically correct. They just don't care about what real people are going through. We are working. I see my neighbors closing businesses. We had a neighbor on 7th Street, the first shop. Their name was Butter Lane Cupcakes.
Hmm.
They were there before we came in. Delicious cupcakes. Great neighbors. Never closed. Always open, always fresh cupcakes, always beautiful neighbors, always sending cupcakes when we came in. Here's a welcome. Every time they had a little leftover, they would send it to my coworkers. A great part of the community, paying their rent, paying their bills, making it happen. And because of politics and because of health inspection fees and because of rats, they're closed. And it's humans like you and I. It's not just corporate America. It's humans working, waking up early to go bake, to sell their product. It's not a Walmart and it's not a Target. It's a local coffee shop. It's a local bakery. It's a local restaurant, and that's what's closing. And it's very demotivating to see the government not doing anything to fix it.
It's always a constant battle between creators and regulators, right? And I see that New York City, as you mentioned, it's very innovative, and everything that you see there, you'll see in other places. But I think also you might find that a lot of the government has begun to control a lot of things, and this whole politically correct movement might definitely not be helping. Now, I have another question for you. I love that your coffee shops have very varied products. If I correct, the last time I went to one of your locations, probably in the Upper East Side or something, and I had like an horchata something coffee that I loved. And then I was looking at your website, and you have now coffee beans that are infused with whiskey, tequila, rum, and different varieties of coffee beans that I loved.
Yay.
And my question here is, how do you come up? Like, I would make this a double question again. What has been your biggest home run as a product in 787, and how did you come up with it?
Okay. Home run would be
Your best
Creative
seller.
Fucker.
Creative
Creative
Fucker. I
Fucker.
love the name.
The Creative Fucker brand has been tremendous. It's super, super, super successful. It started as a hat. That's what we trademark. And
Okay.
then we came up with t-shirts and a whole bunch of products. Now I even have a book, Creative Fucker. And it's obviously for creators, and it's for people that can care less what the world thinks of them. And I think that's what's required to create. And I believe creativity has to do with the ability to believe and trust beyond limits. So by being a creative fucker, you are exactly that, a human that doesn't give a fuck about anything else other than the creating aspect of things, being respectful to others while respecting your integrity to create. So Creative Fucker has definitely given a huge asset to 787 coffee. People walk by, it's always a topic, people talk about it. We've had
Hmm.
churches come over and fight the signs because it says Creative Fucker.
And is there
We've
an
had
actual
people,
coffee product named Creative Fucker, or is it just the
no,
branding
it's
around the whole
only a brand.
787?
Yes,
I
it
love it.
attracts the creative fuckers to drink 787 coffee. So you see a huge community. There's a community called Creators NYC, and they come every single
Hmm.
Saturday. And I believe it's because of the creative fucker, because the CEO has a creative fucker T-shirt every single Saturday. So it's motivating. And then so that has been when it comes to merch. When it comes to products, I believe our Coquito Latte.
Coquito
Our
latte?
Coquito. Oof, yes, it sells delicious. It's so
What does it
good.
have in it?
It's a Puerto Rican Christmas drink.
Hmm.
It's kind of like our rompope. And Puerto Ricans make it every single Christmas, and it's made out of coconut, and it has different ingredients, cinnamon, eggnog, and we converted it into a daily drink, and we added espresso, double shot of espresso. And now we keep it permanent. It's delicious, both hot and iced. And it's not only a drink. That's what I love about the drink, because everything we do has a why. And I'm sorry I talked so long when you asked a question, but
I love it, man. I'm listening. I'm learning.
It's not the coquito. Yes, it is a product, and yes, it makes sales, and yes, we make money. And like I said earlier, make money of every product that you have. Yes. However, stay true to yourself. So it's all kind of coming back to what we've been saying. We are a Puerto Rican company. Puerto Rico, if you're Mexican, you know what tamales are. And you know what a tamal represents when it comes to values and culture. I think of my grandma. I think of Christmas. I think of a family. I think of a table. I think of the 24th, Christmas Eve, and Christmas morning. I think of the flavors and the explosion of flavors in my mouth. That's a tamal is not just a meal. It's a culture. That's coquito to Puerto Ricans. Coquito is Christmas. It's the smell. It's the Caribbean. It's the coconut. It's the flavor. It's the energy, and it's family united. It's people that had to leave the island to go make a better living, and then Christmas comes and you fly back to the island of enchantment, and then you enjoy that beautiful and delicious coquito, sometimes with rum, sometimes with no rum. And
that's sorry to interrupt. I love that about New York City. Like, I'm half Chilean, half Mexican, and I used to go all the way from the Upper West to Harlem just to actually have coffee and get some Chilean desserts in this tiny Chilean-owned, Chilean-run coffee shop. I mean, when it was a Chilean Independence Day, that was wild, and you would have 200 Chileans. That was the only place they had in common. So I can definitely get that feeling of Coquito being a place where I guess you have, because New York has a very big Puerto Rican immigration, do you have a lot of Puerto Rican customers that go for Coquito, or that's also a good strategy?
We do. It's a great strategy, and it's also a way of educating non-Puerto Ricans of what Puerto Rico is. And something else about the Latino culture is we support each other. So a lot of people that come here are maybe Chilean or maybe Ecuadorian or maybe Venezuelan, but because they love the Puerto Rican culture and they love the Latino culture because they have something similar in their country, they come over supporting a Puerto Rican company. So that's wonderful. And then non-Hispanics, Caucasians, or whatever color or national origin they might be, they're coffee connoisseurs. And when you taste 787, not to brag, but you taste the difference.
It's different.
It's very different importing something from somewhere else, and it goes through a boat, and it's been roasted for however months, than just getting on a plane.
I know you're very politically correct with this, but to be very candid, most of Starbucks coffee is just a commodity. Like, you actually see it, and they're brilliant because they found a way to export it all over the world and have it taste the same, but that way was burning it and making it 100% black and drying it and over roasting it. And you can definitely tell the difference when you try your coffee, guy. So you're doing a great job over there.
Thank you, Chris, and I'm sure you did too. And for all the coffee owners, right, the coffee shop owners, and to your audience, I say, when you have an opportunity to support local, support local. Coffee shops around the world need customers. Starbucks does too, I'm sure, and big corporations. But going to a local coffee shop once a week, making the extra effort to drive a little bit further or walking a little bit more to get there, makes a whole world of difference to the business owner and the baristas that work for a local coffee shop. So if there's no 787, we get it. It's cool. Look for a roaster that buys single origin, that roasts, that cares, that creates a better community, that cleans the streets, that waters the plants, that does as much as they possibly can within their limits to create a better world.
And I know you're born in Texas, but being from Hispanic origins and being a business owner in New York City, is there a big community of Hispanic business owners that actually relate, or not really?
Oh yeah, there's a huge one. I mean, I'm super proud of being Mexican. Extremely proud. I love being Mexican. Soy mexicano. Vuelvo a nacer mexicano. That's what I am, and I'm super proud of it. And there's a huge community, of course. There's. We are the largest minority. I was invited to speak at the United Nations last year with a group of people there, and it was one of the speakers that was there with me told us, in the United States we are selling more tortillas than bread.
Wow.
We are selling more salsa than ketchup. This
That's
is nationwide.
incredible.
This is the power and how the world is changing and how the U.S. is changing. We as the Americas, with all of our chimichurris, with all of our ajís from Peru, from tortillas from Mexico, horchata either from Spain or Guatemala or Mexico, arepas, tamales, so on and so forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
We impact the community. This is the power, and that's why it's our responsibility to do what we do, you and I, here today. This is our responsibility to speak not only one additional language, but 2 or 3. It is our responsibility to not only get an undergrad, but get a graduate degree. It is our responsibility to speak. It is our responsibility to write. It is our responsibility to take board seats so we get to speak and say things, not only for Latinos, for people that we see, right? I am an advocate for the Jewish community. I'm an advocate for the gay community. I'm an advocate for Mexicans. I'm an advocate for the African American community. I am an advocate for whomever I feel needs that help. This is who I am, Chris. This is me. What makes me happy. I think that's the biggest differentiator in me. And it's not a sales marketing. It's just who I am. It comes from my mother. This is my mother. This is what she does every single day. I went to LA last week, and I saw one of the most amazing things I've seen in my life. On a Saturday, I got up super, super early. I got up maybe like at 4 a.m. I was working from the hotel. I realized the local coffee shop was open at 6, and I decided to walk to the local coffee shop and get myself a cup of coffee, work from there. I was with my dog, so I was walking Polo around. And then all of a sudden, I see a Caucasian family with real family values carrying a cart. I had no idea what it was, but it was me and them and like 20 homeless. And I am brown, so I'm like, okay, homeless are gonna respect me a little bit more than the white wife, husband with kids. They were the weird ones there.
Okay.
But they're pulling a cart. And I was so intrigued with what they were doing, and all of a sudden I see they're approaching every single homeless. They would pull something from that cart, and it was either a gallon of milk, cookies, peanut butter sandwiches, crackers, vitamins, Tylenol, anything they could, I guess, collect through the week. They got up that Saturday morning so that when they're waking up, they're getting some sort of vitamin. I couldn't stop by crying. I had a conversation with the universe, and I said, thank you for allowing me to see so many good things in life. And I realized it doesn't matter what color you are or what's your ethnicity, your background. The only thing that matters is what you stand for. And that walk to the coffee shop, and I was able to record one of the interactions between that couple and the family and the homeless. And I was so motivated, thinking, how do I bring this to 787 so we all go walking and feeding homeless? I also thought of the kids from that couple, and I said, how wonderful are those kids are going to be raised, and what a difference are they going to make to our world, your world, my world, because of having parents that are not criticizing, blaming the government, saying this is a black man or a Hispanic man or a whatever man, but doing something about it. And this happened a couple of days last Saturday, and it was just beautiful. And I'm like, this is what I care. And hopefully through business and through what I do, this is the change that my community, my humans that I work with, and for our customers, that's the change that I think we can do.
I love it, man. That's a great story. And not only a great story of a family doing something good, but of you having the capacity of appreciating it. Because I think a lot of us are on this hamster wheel of just doing our day by day and moving forward and not even stopping to appreciate that there's a lot of kindness in the world and that there's a lot of nice people doing nice stuff. And it reminded me, I can't remember the name right now. There's a small pizza shop in Mexico City that's very famous. And I love that they have a system to get back to their neighborhood where it's a tiny place where you come and order a great slice of pizza. But in the back, in the wall, they have this kind of like digital scoreboard with the big red numbers, right? And every time they get to 5 slices sold, one number will pop up on the other side, and that's one pizza slice for the homeless people of the neighborhood. And then they go like, tuk, 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 book. So every time they sell, you can actually see that, and they congratulate people when they come in. And at the end of the night, when they're closing shift, they will have a line, and they will actually be helping the community every day. So I think it's always good to see those examples in business and people helping each other out. And dude, with that said, I really appreciate your time. I loved having you here on the podcast. What is one social media account, one URL where people can go and learn more about you or 787 Coffee Shop?
Thank you. So it's 787 Coffee. It's the area code of Puerto Rico, which is 787, and then coffee. I am on my website is soybrandon.com, and my social media is Soy Brandon Iván. That's where I am. Let's go out there and make shit happen, Chris. Let's build a better world for you and I, and for the ones that are following us.
Love it, man. Well, thank you so much for being here, and everybody listening, please go follow Brandon and go get a coffee from his coffee shops. He's a great man doing great things, and we'll see you in the next episode. Ciao, ciao.
Great job. Thank you.